Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan.
I have a rant for the relative lack of attention being given to the first anniversary of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, who wrote a column for the Washington Post and was killed at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The Washington Post has paid attention to it, the New York Times has, but for the most part there's been a lot of silence, and the Trump administration continues with its friendly...
I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes last week, but Nora O'Donnell went after the Saudi prince.
Absolutely.
And was relentless, asking him what he knew and what he had to do with it. So that was excellent.
And there has been coverage here and there. And to his credit, Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos actually went to Istanbul this week to take part in a vigil outside the Saudi consulate.
Wow. All right, Lylah.
So I have a rave for Slate magazine, or Slate.com, for a piece they wrote kind of going into the ins and outs of why having a more diverse jury in the Jean Botham case made a difference in the outcome. Most juries are overwhelmingly white, and that's for a number of reasons. One, white jurists are more likely to respond to the summons. Black jurists are more likely to be rejected by prosecutors. But having a diverse jury gives people of color a better chance of actually being tried by a jury of their peers, and you see different outcomes. It was good to see the
OJ
details
being
of that.
another example. Mm-hmm. All right, Callie.
I have a rave for a couple of movies. I don't know the production companies, but Hustlers, which is Jennifer Lopez's latest film, and another one coming up about Mr. Rogers is coming up. Features two actors playing journalists, actually doing the role they're supposed to do. So Julia Stiles, actor, is playing Jessica Pressler, who wrote the New York Magazine article about this incredible story that the movie Hustlers is based on. And then the actual journalist, Tom Janode, I think that's how you pronounce it, Matthew Rise, is playing him, and he developed a really close relationship with Mr. Rogers over time. So it's interesting to see, not since Spotlight have we seen, like, reporters actually, this is the job they do. And I was particularly, it's a kind of a creepy story, the Hustler story, but there's this journalist doing her job, getting the information.
It's a really good point. I was fascinated when you sent that this morning, because normally reporters are treated like cads in the press. I mean, the hats and the pipes, and even going back to Malice. What was that one with Paul Newman and Sally? Absence of Malice. Yes. And even recently, the one with Tom Fiedler about.
Kind of sweaty and sleazy.
Well, and female reporters are seen in short skirts, tall high heels, running around seducing their sources. So it's nice to see that there's some level of accuracy that we're seeing now. I wonder how much the bad portrayals play into the whole fake news, anti-media bias now.
That's why we need a revival of Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell and His Girl Friday. Now that is accurate.
I think I missed that one. All right, Adam, what do you got?
I got a rant for Jake Tapper of CNN, who I think has, by and large, done an admirable job rising to the challenge of his role in this very bizarre media and political moment that we're living in. But yesterday, on the same day that President Trump stood on the White House lawn and called on China and Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, Jake Tapper sent a tweet. He's very active on Twitter, very good on there. He sent a tweet saying, "Breaking, I have learned," and I'm paraphrasing here, but this is the gist, "I've learned that the whistleblower who accused President Trump of pressuring the Ukrainian president to go after the Bidens, I've learned he was a registered Democrat." And then he went on to say in a follow-up tweet, sent several minutes later, however, it's worth noting that the IG did not find that political partisanship played a role in this complaint, which is still credible. I'm not saying he shouldn't report that information. By all means, report that information. But to put it out there as this breaking revelation that he's just gotten on a day when this unprecedented thing has happened that confirms the whistleblower's account and goes beyond it, I just felt like it was kind of tone deaf. To me, it reeked of someone trying to show that they could be balanced and tough on both sides when we're not really in a both sides situation right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Also, some of this braggadocio that goes on Twitter is a bit tedious too.
Scoop.
I think I got a big scoop.
Yeah,
exactly.
It does get exhausting.
Yeah. All right. Well, finally tonight, I have a rave for Shep Smith on Fox News. I mean, there's been this internecine squabbling going on in Fox over the late night people, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, that crowd are very pro-Trump, and they spout his talking points. But Shep Smith, Chris Wallace, Ed Henry have been doing some real reporting and deciding, no, this isn't right. So here's what Shep Smith said the other day.
Well, there you have it. Joe Biden, who discussing the allegations against him, which have indeed been proven baseless, at least to this point.
So he's really sending a message to his brethren within the network saying, this is baseless, let's drop it. But, of course, they haven't.
You know who else did, and this surprised me, was former Judge Andrew Napolitano. He also came out and took the sort of fact-based, reality-based line.
And then they brought on that guy, Joe DeGeneva, from the OJ era to refute what Napolitano was saying. You know,
I've said this before, and not to take away from Shep Smith, who I think is a good journalist. They're just trained monkeys in the Fox Zoo. They're playing a role legitimately, but it's good for Fox.
Yeah.
So
I think it's getting tedious. It's getting on the nerves of the people who are trying to do something good.
Absolutely.